Alright, welcome back for another painting tutorial. This one on the Snatchaboss on Sludgeraker Beast. Quite a mouthful. This is the non-named character. I can't remember what the named character version is called, but I went with the non-named character one. So we're going to get right into it. This is going to be Militarum Green to start off with, and this is going to be on the skin of the Sludgeraker Beast, or the alligator, as I'm sure I will refer to him from now on in this video. But we're just going to get all his skin done in this Militarum Green, and then at some point we will come back with a different color and do the soft underbelly kind of thing, the same way we did with the Troggoth the other day. So I'm just going to get this all over the skin here, and as soon as I do that I will let it dry completely, and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Alright, we're back and we've got our green all dried, or mostly dried anyway, and now we're going to move on to doing the cloth, or the leather that's on this guy. And for that we're going to use snakebite leather, and this is going to be the leather on the alligator as well as on the orc. So that'll be this, all this stuff hanging down here, and then all of the stuff on the orc as well. So we're just going to be careful to not hit the green while we're doing this. And I will say, between steps, I used some brush on Wraithbone. This miniature is primed with Wraithbone, and so in between steps I took some brush on and just touched up a couple spots where the green had gotten onto the leather here, because it will stick out. The green underneath this snakebite leather will stick out. So in all the places I noticed it, I just covered that up real quick. So I'm just going to keep doing this. This is going to be on all of this, on this part of the leather on the orc, and then I'm going to do the reins here also. And I think that's it. Yeah, all this rope stuff will be done later in a different color. But all of this leather will be done. I'll let that dry completely, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, we're back, and our snakebite leather is all applied and drying. Except I noticed that I missed the other half of that rein over there, so I'll do that between colors. But now we're going to move on to the wood, and that's going to be Gore Grunt of Fur. A little bit of a reddish brown to contrast nicely with our yellow brown of snakebite leather. So this is just going to be on, again, everything that's wood. So it's most of the frame here. And we're obviously going to paint all our metal with metallic paint, which is not contrast paint, so we can just be messy and go all over the place. We just want to make sure when we're near the green or the snakebite leather that we don't get any of this on that. So yeah, this is going to be probably the most time-consuming color we've applied so far, but I'm just going to work through it, try not to miss any parts like I did with the snakebite leather, and then let that all dry, and then I think we'll come back and probably do the metal, which will be probably even more time-consuming than this. But this guy is a pretty simple paint job, to be honest. There's not tons of colors on him. He's really 4 main colors. And then we'll do some details, obviously. And then the orc will have a couple more colors on him. We still get to add the purple, because that's my army color. This guy, I've noticed, doesn't have any of the face armor on him. Like, none of this kind of stuff. So we're going to have to figure out where we're going to put purple on him, but we'll figure that out later. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to finish up this wood, make sure it's all nice and dry, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, and we're back, and we've got our wood all painted up. There was quite a bit of it, but, you know, we got there in the end. So now, I'm going to move on to the metal. And that's going to be Iron Hand Steel. And this is all the metal on the alligator as well as on the orc. And I'm not exactly sure what's going to be purple yet, so I'm just going to paint all of the metal in this color, and then we'll just paint the purple over top of that once we figure it out. So we're going to start up here on these panels. And we're going to go over this in some Nuln Oil. And we might even go over it in something a little stronger. I'm not exactly sure yet what we're going to do, but we know we need to at least base it silver, so we'll start there and figure it out as we go. And I just noticed I missed some metal, right, or some wood right here, so I'll have to get to that in just a second. But for now, I'm just going to get this metal all blocked in, and then we'll come back. We got to do some work on the teeth and claws. We got to do the cushion under the orc. We got to do all the details on the orc itself, the skin, and then we also have to do all the rope and bindings that are on this guy. But yeah, I'll finish up this metal, get everything touched up that needs to be, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, and we're back with our silver all done. And if you notice a couple changes with this guy, like he has a very rudimentary base on him, that's because we're about 2 weeks later than the first half of this video, and I had to take him to a tournament, so I needed to just put a basic base on there. Even though he wasn't done, at least he was semi-finished. And then I had a week of midterms to focus on, and now we're finally back. So, the silver's all finished up, and now we're going to move on to the cushion that is between the alligator and this wooden thing here, and we're going to do Mephiston Red for that. So we're just gonna have to be very careful when applying this, because there are a lot of colors around here that we don't want to get this red on. So careful. If it nicks it a little bit, it's not the end of the world, because we are going to come back and put wash and stuff on here, so it'll cover it. And I have nicked it a couple times there. If the wash doesn't cover it, then I will just come back and fix it by hand, but I think the wash will. The only other thing, besides the cushion itself, are these little pads right here. I'm just going to make sure to get them at the same time. And there's one on the other side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll come back and we'll do all the ropes on him. Alright, so our red is all done. Got both sides of the cushion and the front up here and the back in there. So now we're going to do all the ropes that are on him. And for that we're going to use Morghast Bone. My handle's a little tippy there. And so there's a lot of rope on this guy, so we're just going to work our way through slowly and surely. It's all the rope like this. That's attaching the frame to the alligator. Let's see where else. There's rope under there. We got to get all these straps that are on there. This stuff here. So really it's just about working your way around the miniature, finding all these spots of rope and just slowly painting them in. I'm absolutely sure that I will miss some, and I'll have to go back and paint those up while doing other steps, but I'm going to get as many of them as I can, and then I'll let that all dry, and then we'll come back and either do the orc skin or the teeth and claws of the alligator. And then we'll only have a couple more colors left before the washes, and then finishing him up. So, like I said, I'll get all this rope done, and we'll be back to do the next step. Alright, as I'm dropping this model, we're back, and we have all the rope done. Now we're going to do the teeth and claws of the alligator, and that's going to be with Ushabti Bone. Oh, he's also got a couple, like, tusk-looking things right here. I'm gonna get those as well. Basically anything that could be, like, bone or tusk or tooth or anything like that. We're gonna get with this color. He's got another mouth option in the kit, and that, I believe, has his mouth open. So if you wanted to build him like that, you could, and he'd have more teeth to paint, but I kind of liked this, the closed mouth look, so that's what I went with. Just make sure we get the back of this horn. And then he's got claws. He's got really weird looking claws on every foot. Just make sure to get all the way around these and make sure to not get any of this on your skin. Well, on the green skin. You can get the paint on your skin. It's just water-based paint. It'll come off. Alright, so I'll do these last couple horns here and toenails and all that. Then we'll come back and do the orc skin. Then we'll do the purple. We'll probably do both those in the same clip. And then I think we'll be ready for washes, so that'll be exciting. So once this is dry, I'll come back and we'll do that. Alright, we're back, and I'm going to try to do 3 colors in this clip here. First, we're starting with Auric Flesh, and we're going to do that on the skin of the Kruleboy riding the alligator here. Then we're also going to do the purple armor, and then we're going to do the... I kind of forgot about the fur that hangs down on the alligator. We're going to do that in Sybarite Green. Just trying to not hit the other colors that are already on this guy when I'm doing this. This Auric Flesh doesn't cover the best, so if you got some like dark brown or anything on the skin earlier, you might need to do 2 coats of this Auric Flesh, and I'll do that in between clips while we're waiting for stuff to dry. But just for now, I'll just put the 1 coat on. Make sure to get his knees. And then we've got his head. Up here, I'll definitely need a 2nd coat, possibly a 3rd, just because of the silver that got on his head. But it's okay. It won't be a problem. Just make sure to get his neck all the way down in between his armor here. There we go. Oh, got a little bit more showing down there. There we go. And then we've just got his hands. Make sure to get his thumb. And we've got his arm up here. And it might look like I'm being pretty messy, and I guess I am being pretty messy, but the washes we put on will help us out in that regard. And as always, I'm just going for standard tabletop quality, nothing insane. From 3 feet away, you won't be able to notice a couple little mistakes, so it's not a big deal. Alright, so there's his skin all done. Well, all done for this first coat. Like I said, we'll have to do a 2nd coat on a couple spots. Now I'm going for Gene Stealer Purple to do the purple armor. And like I mentioned earlier, he doesn't have any face armor like the other guys do. but I decided I'm just going to do these shoulder pads in purple, just to tie him in with the rest of the army. By face armor, I mean like this guy has a face on his shield and a face on his shoulder pad. This guy doesn't have any faces, so it is what it is, though. I was thinking about doing his mask in purple, because that is sort of in the face of, or a shape of a face, but decided shoulder pads would work better. So that's what I'm doing. This will definitely need a second coat or two, and I think actually I'm gonna let these dry and do those second coats before I come in and do the Sludgeraker green on the alligator. So we'll let these two colors dry, do the second coat, third coat if we need it, and then come back and do the next step. Alright, and we're back with our second coat of both the skin and the purple applied. And now we're going to move on to our Sludgeraker green, and that's just going to be for the hair on this alligator. So it's going to be on the tail and hanging down right here. So we're just going to get some of this, and don't need to paint the entirety of every hair, but just going to sort of overbrush, I guess, like this. Trying to stay on the high points of it, not go down into the recesses, so we still get that darker shading down there. But and I'm choosing this color just because it's sort of an aqua-y green, and just to kind of connect this creature with the water. Clearly he can walk on land and comes out of the water, but I assume he'd also be a swimmer, although he doesn't really have arms that look like they'd be too good at swimming. But regardless, this is not anatomy of an Age of Sigmar creature, this is painting. So I'm doing it. Just get down in there. And that'll work. I think maybe just tie that in a little bit more there. Yeah, that's better. Alright, and then we're going to do this for hanging down here. Let's get some here down his midline. And then I think this might be the last color on him. Just checking. No, we gotta do a couple silver details on the purple armor. That's right. That's all the hair from this side. Let's flip him around and do this. There we go. Alright, so then we'll grab our Iron Hand Steel back out. Right there. And we'll do these details on the purple armor up here. So just these are in here. And then I'm going to get these spikes on his robe here. Alright, and then, besides the washes, I believe that's it. So I'm going to let this sit and be nice and dry. And then we'll come back and add our washes. I think we're just going to do 3. We're going to do Nuln Oil, Agrax Earthshade, and then we're going to use some Plaguebearer Flesh on the orc skin. Depending on how the Nuln Oil works on the green skin. We may end up using a green wash on this. We'll have to see. But that's him done before washes. So once he's all dry, we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, we're back, and I've decided what I'm going to do on the alligator skin, and that is use Plague Bearer flesh on it. We're going to use it on the orc skin and the alligator skin. I'll do it on the orc skin first. And I'm putting it on pretty thick on here, because I want that contrast to really... contrast. Not that contrast paint, the contrast between the colors. I want it to pop. And so we're putting it on maybe a little thicker than I might normally. But this kind of pukey green color goes onto this orc flesh and really shades it quite well, in my opinion. So that's what we're doing. Put it on his head up here. Oh yeah, I still have to do the, there's some rope attaching his mask to his face. I'll get that at some point. But for now, just doing this Plague Bearer flesh on here. And it's a pretty light color when it goes on, when you don't put a ton on, and so if I make a mistake and get a little bit on, like this rope or something, the Agrax Earthshade that we're going to put on in a minute will just cover it right up. And not be a problem. So, oh, he's got skin in here. I'm like, I know I'm missing some skin somewhere. Right in there. Alright, so now, I'm going to open my pot of paint since it closed on me. And now we're going to go on to the green of the alligator. So I'm just going to put this all over this, including on the Sybarite green. I think this is going to give it a nice... I don't know, I just feel like it's going to give it a nice color. I think we're a little too... We're a little too much towards forest green on the alligator currently, and this is going to shift it more towards the yellow that I want it. But we'll see. And hey, if you liked it before I added this color, then feel free to tell me that, man, I really don't think you should have added that next color. Personally, though, as I'm watching this go on, I think this is exactly what I was looking for. If a little bit gets on the nails, it's not a problem. We'll be putting Agrax on there anyway. I gotta touch that nail up. There's no paint on it. Just trying to go section by section here, which is what I usually do when I put contrast on like this. Just so I don't get tide marks. But on this guy, it's not as crucial because he already has so many lines on his skin that another line on there would probably blend in just fine and you'd never be able to tell. But rather get into good habits when it doesn't matter than have a bad habit when it does matter. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this on the rest of the skin. And then I may let this dry completely, but I also might just come back and we'll do the Nuln Oil. Either way, I'll be back when this is done, and we'll move on. Alright, we're back. And now we're going to go on to the Agrax Earthshade. And this is going to go on to everything that we haven't already put wash on, and everything that is not metal. So no skin, no metal, but everything else. So nails here, and I still didn't touch up that nail. I'll get to that eventually. I'm going to put some Agrax on it for now. And no one will ever see it, but I'll probably come back and fix it at some point. So now I'm just putting Agrax on everything else. And I'm doing here what I sometimes do. I'm letting the wash run over the edges a little bit, just to build up the definition between this stuff and the skin. It does mean that there's technically, I'm getting the wash on the skin, but I think it helps to build the definition that that I want. So this is just going to be a long process of putting this on everything, and then we're definitely going to have to let it completely dry before we go on to the Nuln Oil. So I'll do all this, get it all done, let it dry for an hour or so maybe, or maybe we'll just come back, who knows. Either way, once I get this done, I'll come back and we'll do the Nuln Oil. Alright, we're back, and on to our final color, Nuln Oil. This is going on all of the silver parts of this miniature. And then that will be it. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this guy came out. I think there's a lot more you could do, obviously. With a lot of miniatures I paint, there's always a lot more detail that you could explore, a lot more time you could take doing different things. But in terms of would I take this model to a tournament and be ashamed that I brought him? Absolutely not. And that is good enough for me. I'll go and sit on the shelf with my Kruleboyz until the next event. And I guess then I'll have to figure out what I'm painting next. Not entirely sure. I wish the Stormcast Dragons would hurry up and come out. I'd really like to paint some of them. That would be cool. I don't think we have any more Kruleboyz releases in the near future. I mean, I have the other stuff that came out the same week as this guy. The Swamp Dragger, or whatever that thing's called. This thing people are calling Dobby online. Looks like Dobby. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going to be next. I've got a couple of commissions to do that I don't think are going to end up on the channel, but you never know. Black Templars I know are coming out for 40k. So maybe I'll do a Black Templar. We'll have to see. But in any event, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this black. Get it all over this silver. And then, hopefully, right about now, you'll be seeing completed pictures of him. All nice and dry. Just going to leave the base currently as it is. It's not the best base, but I am currently waiting on some more UV resin to show up in the mail, and I'd rather get this video out rather than delay it any more than I had to. I thought I had more UV resin. I do not, so that was a goof on my part. So he'll get a better base in the future, but for right now, that's all it's going to be, and it's good enough. You know, it's a color, it's got tufts on it, the base rim's painted. That'll work. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.